Hi, it's Clonmeister from Cybersport, and today I'm joined by Mikyx, who just won the game against Heretics, the last game of the regular split of the LEC Summer. Hello, Mickey.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, and I wanted to know what was your approach on that game, because it was a pretty fun game against them, but to be honest, it didn't really matter, and it didn't really make any impact on you because you've been locked third anyway. So how did it look like from your perspective?
Yeah, it was a bit of a low quality game. I feel like everyone was just getting caught all the time and everyone was dying all over the place. So it didn't feel the greatest playing that game or even winning it. But yeah, there was a lot of team fight practice at least. We got that. Um, and yeah, the draft was like pretty solid from both teams, I felt like. I think both teams kind of got what they wanted. So yeah, it was kind of a even game in terms of draft. And then we got some early leads, but then we got a bit greedy and tried to push too much, and then got caught very often. Even gave Baron, but yeah, I guess we kind of won in the end. We were a bit more clutch than them, so yeah.
I also was very surprised because of the Dr. Mundo picked, but it was probably the first
Yeah,
time this split in any
yeah,
other region. Yep.
yeah. Mundo seems like pretty solid, especially with the warmocks and stuff. Um, yeah, and apparently it's good lane versus Kazante. So if he can get their lane, looks just strong in general in team fights. They couldn't really kill him that fast. They actually had good champs to kill tanks like Azir and Zeri, but he was still kind of just tanking them. So yeah, did good.
Okay, so we won't be talking much about this game because it wasn't really important, but what was
Yeah.
important for me especially was what Caps said in one of the interviews at the beginning of the split when you were 1-2 after the first week, if I remember correctly. And he said something like that you were a bit rusty after the MSI, and also you were a bit like the loss against T1 like push you a bit, and now it looked like you came on a good track. So did you change like anything maybe at your practice or to make sure you will perform better, or it was more like okay guys, wake up and we just need to play our game?
I think it was a little bit of the meta read. I think was a bit off at the start because we didn't have as much time to practice on the actual new patch, which was kind of big. A lot of rune changes and just like different champs being played. So we were still playing a lot of like Varus, where people kind of stopped doing that. But we also just played the good teams. I feel like BDS and SK played quite well against us. Even though those both games we could have won if we actually were good, we were just still a bit rusty. But yeah, I think we didn't really change much from our usual process. We just kind of kept doing what we were doing, just work hard, and yeah, it paid off. I think we figured out drafts a bit more and just started actually getting back in the rhythm of playing together again because we only were playing together for like a week. It was a 1 week break, and then we just all played solo queue. So sometimes the solo queue happens to get into scrims, and then you're not on the same page sometimes. And a lot of our first week was us not being on the same page. But the more we played afterwards, the better it got. So I think now we're at like a pretty solid spot. So yeah, I think we're gonna just keep going like that. Also, I guess The Boys season 4 came out, so it was like kind of a buff. Still haven't lost a game since then.
Yeah, sure. And as I already mentioned, you've ended third in the regular behind BDS and SK. What will you say about these teams? Are they maybe like a real threat for you in the playoffs? Do you feel like that?
Mm, I don't really think so. I think they're good, but I feel like they're not really a threat to us. I feel like they could get some wins in best of ones, but the thing in playoffs, it should be hard for them to actually win more than one game in a single day against us. I think they're still good teams, but I think we're just much better, especially if we can play at our usual level. I think Fnatic maybe could get up there. I think Fnatic could be challenging, but still I'm pretty confident that we're just better than everyone. So yeah, but I'm happy to see that the teams are actually consistently doing well, like SK and BDS. Like they didn't drop like random games, for example. So that was good to see.
Yeah, that's perfect, right? And this year you can make something that was never made before because you can get a free pit in the LEC. Do you feel like some kind of more motivation because of that to make it, or you don't really mind about that?
Mm, I don't really mind that much, but I think it would just feel nice to not randomly just lose, because that's kind of what we did in spring last year, where we just randomly lost to Mad Lions, and that felt quite bad. So it would be more to like deny other teams from winning, but it would also be nice to win, just because I think if we win the third split as well, we already qualified the Worlds, so it's still very important compared to last split, for example, where we actually won the summer, but nothing actually changed. So yeah, I think the most important thing is just getting to Worlds.
Okay, and I also wanted to ask about some international things, as you mentioned right before, because I also remember that Cap said something that you need to practice for LEC to win the LEC, but also you need to think about the strategies that we also work internationally. So after you've made it to the playoffs, or after you've locked in, did the proportions change in favor of the international preparation, or not really?
Not really. I feel like whenever we practice, we always think about, like, even if we didn't get punished from the teams we were scrimming against, we could get punished in this scenario from better teams. So we try to be mindful about if what we're doing is actually good against international competition, and even the champions we pick. I guess the difference is that maybe if we had like a specific strategy or champion pick that we wanted to pull out, maybe we wouldn't pull it out now that we actually secured playoffs, because we don't have to, right? We might want to save it. But I think that's the only difference, really.
And there is also another tournament, international tournament on the board pretty soon, because next week you will be playing Esports World Cup. What will you say about that, this event? What are your thoughts about the whole tournament and the initiative?
Well, I think the good part about it is that we're going to be able to scrim the international teams, so we're going to get some good practice before our playoffs. And yeah, I guess besides that, it doesn't really matter how we do there. Like, it would be nice to win against these teams, but in the end, it doesn't have any implications for anything, any qualifications or something. Yeah, winning would be nice, but I think mostly just scrimming these teams and try to get better before playoffs, because it's kind of like a short mini boot camp before Worlds, usually how we have it. So yeah.
So do you think that playing against T1, Gen.G and other teams will make you better and help you playing the playoffs
Sure.
in the LCC? Right? Okay.
Yeah, I think they will punish a lot of the bad habits that we might have built up over the course of the split. And yeah, if we can learn from that, I think we're gonna be much better for it.
Okay. I hope that you will make anyway good on that tournament, and that Europe will be doing great. Maybe some wins against Asian teams will come, and hopefully a lot of you will win every match against America. So thank you so much for the interview, and good
Yep.
luck in the tournament and in the LEC playoffs.
Cheers.
See you.